the grand illusion, the crisis of expectation. We are victims of a grand, sweeping illusion, the myth of the peak experience. We are taught that life's most profound revelations occur only in dramatic moments, on a mountaintop, after a colossal victory, or during a devastating loss. We live for the highlight reel, addicted to the spike of excitement that only extreme events can provide. But this addiction is a spiritual trap. It trains our attention to discount the 99% of existence that is quiet, repetitive, and ordinary. We race through the necessary hours of preparation, execution, and maintenance, making coffee, answering emails, paying bills, treating them as boring tasks to be endured rather than opportunities to be inhabited. The result is a constant, subtle anxiety. Our minds are always elsewhere, projecting themselves onto the next grand goal, next peak experience, or next moment of recognition. We have become experts at transcending the present in favour of a projected future. This is the root of modern burnout, a crisis of expectation where the ego demands a spectacle and the soul simply requires silence. This is the ultimate rebellion, to stop chasing the spectacular and to start inhabiting the small. The truth is, the fundamental integrity of your life is not built in the flashes of brilliance. It is forged in the invisible, ordinary moments that no one else will ever applaud. This is the courage of the small choice, the spiritual path of finding absolute power in the seemingly mundane. Akit Wai, the tyranny of the scalable, psychological diagnosis. The greatest enemy of the mundane moment is the concept of scale. Our culture venerates whatever can be amplified, monetized, and replicated endlessly. If a task cannot be shared, monetized, or optimized for maximum audience reaction, we psychologically devalue it. Consider the simple act of washing dishes. It is repetitive, unglamorous, and cannot be scaled. An algorithm would deem it inefficient. Yet, when performed with full presence, it becomes a meditation on completion and utility. But the ego whispers, "This is a waste of your valuable time. You should be doing something that matters, something scalable." This is the tyranny of the scalable. It forces us into a psychological state of perpetual self-rejection, teaching us to resent the very fabric of our day-to-day existence. We internalize the belief that we are only valuable when we are producing high-output results or achieving a headline-worthy transformation. The small choice, the choice to simply be present with the dull, quiet task at hand, becomes an act of profound vulnerability. It requires setting aside the grand narrative the ego has written for itself. The psychological consequence of this tyranny is burnout as apathy. It's not just exhaustion, it is a loss of emotional and spiritual colour because we have trained ourselves only to see the value in the vivid highs. We have created a binary existence where life is either peak or purgatory. The path to stability, to sustained psychological and spiritual health, requires an immediate and radical reinvestment in purgatory, in the mundane. It requires us to find the divine signal within the static. Act 2. The Tao of the Teacup, Intellectual Reframing. To understand the power of the mundane, we must turn to ancient wisdom that rejected the frantic chase of Western ambition. Think of the Taoist principle of Wu Wei, or effortless action. Wu Wei is often misunderstood as doing nothing. It is actually about doing tasks with such complete, unforced harmony that the action itself becomes a form of stillness. The Tao of the teacup is the realization that the act of preparing, pouring, and drinking tea is an entire universe. It is a moment where the entire cosmos, from the water cycle to the harvested leaf, converges in a single, unrepeatable instance. To rush this moment is to miss the fundamental truth that perfection resides in the present, not the product. The small choice, to focus utterly on the warm weight of the teacup, on the subtle shift of gravity as you lift it to your lips, is a refusal to be dragged into the future's anxiety. It is a declaration of attention sovereignty. This is where the intellectual path meets the spiritual path. Attention is the currency of the soul. If you cannot hold your attention on the simple task of folding a shirt, how can you expect to hold your attention on the complex, nuanced truths of your deepest spiritual journey? The mundane is not a distraction from your spiritual work. It is the testing ground for your consciousness. Every repetitive task, a recurring meeting, a daily commute, an evening routine, is an opportunity to practice radical acceptance. You accept the reality of the task, You drop the expectation of spectacle and you fully inhabit the present moment. This is not resignation. It is a powerful, quiet surrender to reality as it is, which is the foundation of all true peace. Ecta 3. The 3 spiritual disciplines of the small spiritual blueprint. To rebuild our lives on the foundation of the mundane, we must adopt 3 countercultural spiritual disciplines. Pillar 1. The discipline of completion, the power of the closed loop. Our culture rewards starting. We launch, we pivot, we innovate. But the soul finds its deep satisfaction in completion. Leaving tasks perpetually unfinished creates an energetic drain, 100 tiny open loops that whisper to the subconscious, consuming bandwidth. The discipline of completion requires bringing full, uncompromising attention to the end of a small task. Close the laptop with reverence rather than slamming it shut in relief. Wipe the counter until it shines. Answer the email fully without leaving a loose thread. This is not neurotic perfectionism, it is psychological hygiene. Every time you fully complete a small task, you send a signal to your deepest self. I am capable of bringing integrity to the world I inhabit. This accumulated integrity creates an internal stability that no external peak experience can ever rival. It proves that your spiritual worth is not external, but inherently present in your actions. Pillar 2. The discipline of reciprocity, the giving of attention. The mundane is often viewed transactionally. What can I get from this task? The spiritual shift is to view it reciprocally. What can I give to this task? The small choice of reciprocity is giving your undivided attention to a person, a place, or a task without expectation of return. It is listening to a loved one's story without composing your reply. It is noticing the changing light outside your window for no reason other than observation. This discipline honors the inherent consciousness of the world around you. When you give attention to a piece of furniture, you see its form and function. When you give attention to a human, you see their soul. Reciprocity turns the mundane from a selfish transaction into a communal ritual, reminding you that you are part of a shared, intricate, and deeply valuable reality. The power is in the giving of the attention itself. Pillar 3. The discipline of repetition, the depth of the loop. The ego despises repetition, it craves novelty. But the soul understands that repetition is the mechanism of depth. You don't master the violin by playing one brilliant song. You master it by playing the same scales countless times. The mundane tasks of your life, the morning routine, the evening check-in, the daily work grind, are not walls blocking your progress. They are the scales of your consciousness. Each repetition is an opportunity to execute the task with slightly greater presence, slightly deeper grace, and slightly truer integrity than the day before. The small choice of returning to the loop, not with resignation, but with renewed attention, is the key to uncovering the sublime within the ordinary. The true spiritual life is not a linear climb toward a climax. It is a deepening spiral, where the same patterns are revisited at a higher level of awareness each time. Repetition is where you shed the ego's need for novelty and discover the infinite complexity of the simple. The stable soul. The grand chaotic life promises excitement at the cost of stability. The quiet, mundane life offers stability at the cost of ego. The courage of the small choice is the ultimate act of spiritual maturity. It is the realization that if you cannot find peace in the act of breathing, you will not find it in the accumulation of 1,000,000 achievements. Your spiritual authority is not measured by the heights you reach, but by the depths of peace you can sustain in the flatlands of daily life. By choosing integrity over spectacle, completion over chaos, and presence over projection, you build a soul that is inherently stable, a fortress built not of ambition, but of quiet, unshakable truth. The world will continue to whisper, chase the spectacle. Your stable soul will reply, I am here. In that here, you're complete.